At the beginning of the drama, we see that a man has brought his daughter to the doctor because his daughter had turned 5 years old. But she hadn't spoken a single word until then. The girl's name is Young, and she is the female lead of this drama. The doctor explains, Young has an illness due to which the brain doesn't develop properly, and that's why a person is unable to communicate well with others. Hearing this, Young's father becomes very sad. When he returns home, the landlord starts fighting over a minor issue and begins to beat him. Seeing so much noise and fighting, Young becomes extremely disturbed and starts behaving strangely. Then suddenly, she starts shouting loudly. If a man causes physical damage to another man, he will be sentenced to 1 year and fined 10 million. As soon as everyone hears her words, they become completely silent. Her father starts dancing with joy, saying, "My daughter can talk too." When they reach home, he asks her where she learned all this. She replies, "From criminal law books." Their house had many criminal law books, so she had read them line by line. That's when her father realizes that his daughter is an extraordinary genius. After this, we are shown that Young has now grown up. Her father owns a restaurant. Today was Young's first day at the office, and she had already memorized her entire route in advance. Her father was a little worried. She was different from everyone else, but also extremely intelligent, and had become Korea's first artistic attorney. She uses public transport, which is quite uncomfortable for her. On the way, she imagines that a whale is traveling along with the train. She really liked whales. When she reaches the office, she's unable to enter through the revolving door. She tries again and again, but people keep coming in front of and behind her. Then a boy helps her. That boy's name is Jun-ho, who is the male lead of this drama and works in the same office. It seemed like he was quite popular in the office. Young meets a lawyer named Jung Myung-seok. Young had to work under him, but he didn't know that Young was artistic, so he found some of her habits a little unprofessional. He directly goes to the company's CEO and tells her this, and the CEO replies, "You didn't read her resume carefully. Young topped the university." He says, "The company needs lawyers who can speak well," but Young wasn't even able to properly introduce herself. Then the CEO places a condition that she will be given a case. If she handles it, fine. Otherwise, she will be fired. Young accepts the CEO's condition. Then Young is given a case in which there is an old lady who takes great care of her husband. One day, the two have a fight, and the husband is very angry. Then the wife, in anger, hits him on the head with an iron. Then Young imagines the entire scene, how the old man came home, they fought, and the wife hit him in anger with the iron. The wife was charged with attempted murder, and Young had to defend her. Young meets the old woman for questioning. At first, the woman hesitates a bit, but when she finds out that this is the same little girl who couldn't speak and is now a lawyer, she becomes very happy. After the questioning, Young takes her report to Young. Young gets angry after reading the report because, according to him, Young wanted the woman to not admit her mistake, whereas Young believed that if the woman admitted her mistake, they could show her regret, and she would receive a lighter sentence. But Young presents her point. If the woman admits her mistake, she will be charged with attempted murder. Their house and building rent were in the husband's name. After the husband's death, the wife won't be able to inherit anything, and her source of income will end. So Young wanted that instead of attempted murder. A charge of physical damage should be applied. Young hears her point and gets impressed because he had missed that point. Then Young is sent to the hospital for questioning, to talk to the doctors. The doctor says that the injury was so serious that it could have caused death. Then Young asks the woman, "When you hit your husband, what was your intention?" She says, "I had no intention to kill my husband." Then Young meets her friend Dong, who worked in a cafe. Young says to her, "My trial is about to happen, and I have to practice my opening statement because I have some difficulty speaking." Dong helps her, and the two of them practice together. Then, Young's first day in court arrives. She is very nervous, so Jun-ho has to answer on her behalf. For Young's moral support, her father and friend also come to the court. Young is asked to give the opening statement. At first, she can't say anything. But when Jun-ho starts to stand up, Young quickly gets up. Then the prosecutor asks the woman questions. He says, "The woman had said in front of the police that she wanted to kill her husband. That's why she should be charged with attempted murder." The woman starts crying and apologizing, which makes it seem like she's guilty. That day, Young and her team do not get a chance to ask questions. The next day, the husband is brought to court. Young changes his strategy and sends Young for questioning. According to her plan, Young provokes the man, and the man suddenly starts yelling. Then he picks up a cloth and tries to hit Young. The jury sees how violent and aggressive the man is. The man's health worsens due to his anger, and he is taken out. Then Young explains to everyone, the woman was living with a man who would argue and shout over every small thing. Still, she used to take care of her husband. Just one day her patience ended, and she hit him with an iron. But her intention was not murder. While she's still speaking, A man comes and says, the husband died while being taken to the hospital. Everyone in the court is shocked. Young feels that maybe it happened because of her. If she hadn't gone in front of that man, maybe he would have survived. The next day in court, Young asks many questions to the doctors. She is feeling quite confident. The doctor says the man already had a serious illness, due to which he fainted, and that's what caused his death. Then, Young wins the case. In the next scene, we see that the company's CEO meets Young's father. It seems that the two of them already know each other. In the next scene, we see a wedding hall where the bride and groom are walking in. Suddenly, the bride's eyes fall on someone, and she stops for a few seconds. Then, thinking something, she moves forward, but her foot gets stuck in her dress, causing the dress to slip. No one understands what happened. For a while, everyone just stands there. Then the groom quickly lifts her up from the front, but by then, the groom's grandpa sees the tattoo on the bride's back, which had a picture of Buddha. Then we see Young, who is sitting in her father's restaurant eating food and watching TV. Her father says, "My dream is to see my daughter's wedding." Young doesn't say anything and leaves for the office. On the other side, we see a man bringing his case to Young and CEO Han Seon. This man had given a lot of money to a big hotel to arrange the wedding, but the hotel couldn't make proper arrangements. Due to the dress slipping, the wedding got cancelled, and the man and his daughter became a joke. The hotel only refunded the wedding cost and gave a little compensation, but the chairman is not satisfied with this. He is angry and demands more compensation. Then they take that man's case. That hotel management was responsible only for the preparation. In this case, the arrangement of the wedding dress was also the hotel's responsibility. To find this out, the team is divided into two parts. Junho is going to go undercover, and Young is sent for investigation. Then we see that Young and Han Seon go to meet the bride, whose name is Kim Hwa. Young notices that the bride hadn't put her husband's photo in the room. She had also taken off her wedding ring. When she is asked, she doesn't give any answer. One more thing becomes clear. The hotel where the wedding was to take place, its owner was a friend of the bride's father. Then Junho and Young go to meet the groom. The groom doesn't seem interested in the wedding. Then Junho and Young go to the dress shop, pretending to be a couple. So she shows them photos of dresses. Young chooses the dress from the incident. Junho jokingly says, "My fiancé is so slim, what if the dress slips?" The designer says while laughing, "That never happens, we do very good fitting." She starts to suggest another dress, but Young insists that she wants to try the same dress in which the incident happened. Then she hears that an employee was fired after the bracelet dropping incident. Young calls Junho and says, "We must question that employee." Junho immediately takes action and checks the CCTV footage of that day. That employee refuses to tell anything and also doesn't give her contact info. Then Young comes out wearing the wedding dress. She looks so pretty that Junho just keeps staring at her. The shopkeeper, looking at Junho, says he's completely in love. So Young laughs and jokingly says to him, "Have you fallen in love?" In the next scene, everyone in court was waiting for a witness. The judge was about to set another date. At that moment, Junho arrives with the witness, who was the dress shop employee. From her, it is found out that on the wedding day, Kim felt the dress was loose, so everyone thought she had lost a little weight. After some time, it is found out that on the wedding day, due to the mistake of an employee, the dress got torn. And it was the same employee who was fired. The dress got damaged, so they gave her a bigger dress, and that's why it slipped. Then Kim says that she cannot marry a person whom she doesn't even know. Her marriage was being forced because the groom's grandpa was gifting a very valuable land, which Kim's father wanted. While Kim is saying this, Young suddenly gets an idea. She says, "This way, 1 million isn't possible," but she was promised that the value of the land can be added in the compensation. The next day, they ask the client what the land's price was. Then they say, "Now, we will demand compensation of this price from the hotel." Hearing this, Kim's father becomes happy. Then in court, Kim announces, "I've become a Buddhist. This is my girlfriend, and I'll marry her." We also then understand clearly that on the wedding day, it was after seeing her girlfriend that she stumbled, and her dress slipped. Then she leaves the court with her girlfriend. In the next scene, we see that a couple returns home from outside. They had just arrived a few minutes ago when they hear the sound of their son screaming. They go to check and see that one had climbed on top of the other and was beating him hard. He beat him so much that the other one died. Then we see Young, who was very happy looking at her name tag. Then Young calls her into his office. He tells her about a case, which was of a company's chairman. That chairman's older son had tortured the younger son. Young wanted Young to assist in this case because the defendant Lee Jun, who took the life, was also autistic like Young. Young and Young meet the chairman and his wife. They say that both brothers used to get along very well. The older brother was very good at everything, even in studies, and his nature was also good, and he used to take a lot of care of his younger brother. Their mom says that the other boy was also not a bad kid. Sometimes he used to be stubborn, but he never raised a hand on anyone. At lunchtime, when everyone in the office starts to leave, Junho holds the elevator until Young arrives. They both have lunch together. Jung and Young meet the defendant. We see that talking to him was very difficult because he was making strange sounds. Then Young asks him, "What happened on the day of the incident? Did you hit your brother?" Hearing the question, he becomes completely out of control and starts banging his hand while shouting. Returning back, Young tells her father that she has to talk to a 21-year-old autistic boy, but she's not able to do it. She asks, "How are you able to live with an autistic person?" He says, "Living with an autistic person is difficult, but you have to keep patience." She remembers when she was little and her father got hurt in front of her, but she didn't react at all. Then she remembers another incident when Young was crying loudly outside a shop and wasn't stopping. At that time, her father kept talking to her about law, so she became quiet because she liked that. He says, "You should talk about the topic the boy is interested in. You just have to find that out. That's why people try to subscribe to him." The next day, when the defendant comes, Jung, Young, and Junho greet him like his favorite artist, so he also acts the same way. Then, when he is asked about the incident, he again becomes out of control. Then, suddenly, Young notices the report and asks them, "Did his brother try to kill himself?" He says, "Yes." Then they go to investigate the room of the son involved in the murder. They find a broken rope there, from which they find out that the defendant saw his brother hanging and quickly broke the rope. They find a diary and some things there, from which it becomes clear that the boy had tried to commit suicide many times before. Then Jung and Young read and tell this in front of his mom and dad that he had attempted suicide many times. He was very depressed in his life, and it seemed that on the day of the incident, his brother was trying to stop him. Despite knowing all this, the boy's father was not ready to accept that he might have committed suicide because that would ruin his reputation. Hearing this, Young says, "To protect the dead son's respect, will you send the other son to jail? What about him?" Hearing this, he gets angry at Young and says, "You are autistic yourself." Then he leaves from there. The next day in court, Young tries to prove through a psychiatrist that whatever the defendant did, it wasn't his fault because he had no control over it. In autism cases, such violent behavior is common. In Jung's office, Young tries to hang herself, so Junho runs and pulls her away, causing both of them to fall and stay there for a while. She says, "I wasn't hanging myself," and she was analyzing based on the report how the defendant tried to save his brother. Then she gets an idea and goes to say, the defendant might have gotten fractures while saving his brother, and if this is told in court, then instead of a murder charge, only an assault charge will be filed. But to say this in court, they have to say that his brother committed suicide. They agree, but their condition is that Young will no longer be involved in the case. Jung tries to defend Young, but she agrees to stay out of the case, but she feels sad. The next day, Jung gives the case to someone else, who clears the case. Next, we see Junho coming to Young's office with a gift. She wasn't in the office, she had emptied her office and also submitted her resignation letter. In the next scene, we see that two brothers, who lived in the city, come to the village to meet their younger brother. They bring a contract and say that they consulted a very good lawyer in the city. According to civil law, the eldest brother will get 50% of the property, the middle one 30%, and the youngest 20%. The younger brother was very simple and trusted his brothers a lot, so he quietly signs it. Then we see the law firm scene, where Junho, even knowing that Young has resigned, leaves his gift on her desk and walks away. Jung also keeps looking at Young's resignation letter between his work, which he still hadn't accepted. Young is sitting in her dad's restaurant when her friend Dong arrives. She was very trusted because Dong's dad was fooled by her uncle into signing some papers. She says, "My dad was given a property by my grandfather. That property was seized by the court, and in return, they were supposed to give 10 million. Her dad wanted to divide it among his brothers, but both brothers cleverly gave only 20% and also told them to pay the tax. Dong asks Young to take the case. So she says, "I'm not an attorney anymore, but I can refer a good attorney." Then they leave for the village so they can get the case papers from her dad. On the way, Young remembers, "My dad also shifted to the village with me, thinking that no one would bully me there. But even in the new school, not much changed. She was bullied a lot there too." Dong supports Young. That's why they become friends. After reaching the village, Young reads the contract and, after fully understanding the situation, advises Dong's dad can file a complaint against his brothers, through which it can be proven in trial that the contract was invalid because those people deceived Dong's dad, kept him in the dark, and lied to get his signature. Young wasn't considering herself an attorney, so she sends Dong to Jung. Jung also refuses to take the case, saying, "You can't win this because Dong's dad himself signed the contract." Young tries to explain over the phone, but he doesn't agree. Then she comes to the office and asks him to take the case, so he tells her to fight the case. Young says, "But I'm not an attorney anymore." Young says, "I haven't accepted your resignation, so you're still this company's attorney." The next day, Young questions Dong's dad's two brothers. "Did you tell your younger brother that, according to inheritance inheritance law, the eldest gets more and the youngest gets less. But both brothers deny it in court. We didn't say anything like that. The judge says to Yong, bring proof. Outside the court, both elder brothers threaten Dong's dad and say, because of your greed, we had to come to court. Are you happy now? The poor guy cannot say anything in front of his elder brothers. Yong asks Dong's dad, do you have any evidence? Any message? Any call recording? Any witness? He remembers that on the day his brothers came, a man from the village was working at their house. Maybe he heard something. Everyone goes to that man and asks if he heard anything. He says, yes, I heard everything. Hearing this, everyone becomes happy. Dong realizes that Junho likes Yong. So while leaving, Dong sends the two alone and plants the idea in Junho's mind to take Yong to see the sunset in the village. They go to watch the sunset. While going, Yong was only talking about whales, but still, Junho found her talks very sweet. He asks her to go to the aquarium. So she starts saying, this aquarium is like a jail for whales. Then Junho asks her, why did you resign? She says, people only consider me autistic. That's why I want to stay away from this. The next day, Yong asks the witness who said he had heard Dong's dad and his brothers talking. The witness says on his own, I didn't hear anything. Hearing this, Dong's dad's brothers become happy. Then Yong gets an idea, which he tells Dong. Then Dong reaches her grandpa's memorial with her mom and dad. She was drunk and created a big scene there. Seeing this, her uncle slaps her hard. That's it. Everyone starts fighting with each other. Dong's uncles beat Dong's dad a lot. Seeing all this, Dong's mom calls the police. In court, Yong submits the evidence and police call details, through which it becomes clear that Dong's uncles emotionally tortured her and her dad. Then Yong says, according to civil law, if there is a contract between two parties, and if the receiving party forces or threatens the giving party or their family, then that contract is considered canceled. That's why this contract should be canceled. The opposition lawyer says, all this was done deliberately. So Yong asks, do you have any other proof? There was no proof, so the contract is canceled. In the next scene, Junho takes Yong to a place where whale sketches were made. Seeing this, Yong becomes emotional. Dong's dad's brothers apologize to Dong's dad. Then everyone decides that the property will be divided into equal parts. After winning the case, Yong regained her confidence, so she takes back her resignation. In the next scene, a client talks about his ATM design and says that they have applied for utility size as well. He also says that the rival company that copied the technology had done something like this before too. During the meeting, Jung doesn't get answers to some questions. He asks Yong, but she doesn't know, so it becomes an awkward situation. Jung says, from now on, all details should be clear, and such a situation should not happen again. In court, due to lack of strong evidence, the judge gives both parties some time. Outside the court, the managers of both companies were fighting and blaming each other. Yong was watching both and couldn't understand who was telling the truth. Then we see, during the game, Yong says to Dong, how can we tell who is lying? She says, if a person is lying, they touch their nose again and again, and you should look between that person's eyebrows. You'll know whether they're telling the truth or lying. In the next scene, Yong was going with Junho. She asks him, how do we know if the person in front of us is lying or telling the truth? So Junho says, the most honest parts of the human body are the hands and feet. It's easy to change facial expressions, but it's a bit difficult to control the movement of hands and feet. When a person lies, either their hands and feet start shaking or they start touching their feet. Yong starts practicing and directly asks him questions. Junho likes Yong. Is it true or a lie? Junho can't say anything and changes the topic. Yong and Junho go to the client. Due to an accident, the client goes to the manager of their development team. Yong asks him questions, but while answering, the manager was a bit nervous, which makes Yong feel like he might be lying. The next day, Yong asks questions to the same man, who answers quite confidently, which makes it seem like he is telling the truth. He says emotionally, we developed the technology with so much hard work, and the other company stole it. The other company had no proof, so everything remained unclear. The next day, the director happily says, now our design has been cleared. Then we see that the manager of the opposite company brings the ATM machine of the leader's company. The judge checks that ATM and confirms that the technology of both companies is exactly the same. Even after losing the case, the manager of that company doesn't look sad because while the opposite company was collecting evidence, he had already cleared all his contracts. After all this, Yong becomes very upset. She had suspected earlier that the people of that company were lying, yet she helped them. She thinks, I made the wrong decision. She goes back to her office and cries. Then she sticks a letter on her wall so that she always remembers to stand with the truth. In the next scene, there is a conference hall where a man is talking about the highway development plan. There was a discussion about building a road that would connect two big cities. In the middle of the presentation, a man stands up from the audience and says, "This road isn't passing near my village, it's going right through the middle. This will cut my village into two parts." Then we see that Han Soo-jo was a resident of that village. He goes to the chairman of Young's law firm and talks to him. He explains that if the road is built, it will become difficult to live in the village. So many vehicles will run on the road that people will be troubled by the noise. The construction company people say that to avoid the noise, they will build soundproof walls on both sides of the road, but that would separate the two parts of the village from each other. The chairman says that they will do some research and then tell whether to take the case or not. Han Soo requests him to do something quickly because the construction was about to begin soon. After research, Jung wasn't taking the case, so Han Soo says, "Just come to the village once, then decide." The village was 1 hour away, so everyone goes there to check the ground reality. After reaching the village, Han Soo tells everyone to walk around so that they can see the beauty of the village. Han Soo says, "The village is beautiful and the people here are good too." Then they see a tree in the village. The villagers considered this tree special. There is no child in the village who hasn't played under this tree. That's why they also call this tree the guardian. If road construction happens, then this tree will also be cut down. When they were returning, Young slips. Jun-ho catches her before she falls. Her jacket gets torn, so Jun-ho gives her his jacket to wear. They sit under that tree for a while and really like the village. After returning, Young tells everyone to get back to work because he had decided that he will take this case. For this, all the materials and documents need to be read. Everyone is surprised to see that there are a lot of documents. Young, Jun-ho, and the third person stay up all night reading the documents. By the time they're reading, morning arrives, and Jun-ho comes back with even more documents. Jun-ho keeps looking at Young with love, but Young was busy with her work. Young's friend notices this, and after Jun-ho leaves, she says to Young, "You do know that Jun-ho likes you, right?" Young says, "It's not like that. I directly asked Jun-ho in the car if he likes me, but he didn't answer." Hearing this, her friend gets angry at Young and says, "Who asks like it's an interrogation?" Then she says, "Do you like him too?" Young says, "It's not that easy. You're really pretty, everyone would like you. But I'm autistic. Who's going to like me?" Hearing this, her friend scolds Young and says, "It doesn't matter if you're autistic, you shouldn't say things like that." And then she leaves angrily. Then Young meets Dong and asks, "How will I know if someone likes me or not?" Dong asks her, "How do you feel when you're with Jun-ho?" Young remembers the moments she spent with Jun-ho and starts blushing. Dong says, "Next time when you meet Jun-ho, try touching him. Your heartbeat will increase." Then we see an old attorney from the other law firm, Tai-Soo-mi, who had come to handle this case herself. Even after going home, Young was reading about Tai-Soo-mi. At that time, her dad comes and asks, "Why are you reading about Tai-Soo-mi?" Young says, "She's my opposing attorney." Hearing this, her dad goes into deep thought. Then we see that construction had started in the village, and the villagers come to stop it. Han Soo calls Young and tells him the situation. Young discusses with his team that construction will only stop if they find proof of something illegal. Then Young says, "I found proof of something illegal. Actually, before any construction, it is mandatory to do an environmental impact assessment. In this case, the construction company got the road design approved in 2017, but the environmental impact assessment was done in 2019. That was their mistake." Then it shows that Young's dad comes to her office and talks to CEO Han Seon. He asks, "Did Young get this job because of Tai-Soo-mi, so that she could be used against Tai-Soo-mi?" We find out that Tai-Soo-mi was Young's dad's girlfriend, and Young is Tai-Soo-mi's daughter. Seeing her dad leaving, Young sees everything. In the next scene, Young's friend says to Jun-ho, "If you feel something for Young, then confess it so that the confusion ends." The next day, the assessment gets completed. The design was finalized in 2017, but the impact assessment happened 2 years later, in 2019. That was the proof that something was wrong. Tai-Soo-mi says, "There's nothing wrong in this." Then a light bulb goes off in Young's head and she says, "In 2017, the villagers found out about the road plan. They asked for the plan to be changed, but the company refused to change it. That means the environmental impact assessment was done 2 years later. Everyone is impressed by Young's intelligence. When Young was in the washroom, Tai-Soo-mi asks her name and compliments her work. Tai-Soo-mi finds her name familiar, but she can't remember anything. In the office, Young asks Jun-ho, "Can I touch you?" Young says that she wants to check if she feels something or not. Then Junho comes closer to her and says, "Isn't your heartbeat already increasing without touching?" In the next scene, Young's dad tells her that during college days, he and the law firm's CEO were friends, and that's why the CEO personally came and offered her the job. Hearing this, Young gets a bit upset and says, "So that means I got the job because of my connections? Not because of her talent?" Her dad also wants to tell her about Tai Soo-mi, but she gets emotional over the first point and says, "Next time, don't ever interfere like this." And then she runs away crying. At the beginning of the episode, we see that Young is at Dong's house. While having breakfast, Dong asks Young, did she have a fight with her dad? So Young says, it's nothing like that. She's an adult, so she won't live with her dad and will find her own house. When Young reaches the office, everyone starts talking amongst themselves after seeing her. She's that girl from the article. Actually, Kwon Jo was Young's competitor lawyer. He had published an article saying that an attorney in this law firm was hired because of connections. Then the meeting starts. Young says that they didn't have an environmental impact assessment. Second, the on-site verification was also pending. They hoped that after seeing the village, they would change their mind because the place was very beautiful. Han Seon says, it's very important for us to win this case because our law firm can't lose to Tai Soo-mi. The next day, we see that Hanbada's attorneys arrive for the on-site verification. It was raining heavily, and everyone had taken out their umbrellas. Just then, the other law group also arrives and takes out their umbrellas. When the judge arrives, Han Soo starts showing them the village. In the site verification, they had to show the beauty of the place and its people. They say, if the villagers are ready, then what difference does it make? Young raises the question, how will we know whether the villagers' comment is true or not? Young hires part-timers who go house to house and collect signatures from people. They all go to get signatures from the villagers, but most people are interested in compensation and sign the other group's forms. Then we see Young going near a tree, and her bag is left there. Tai Soo-mi is talking to someone on the phone. After seeing Young, she returns her bag, which was kept safely. Then Tai Soo-mi gives Young her law firm's card and asks her to join. Just then, Kwon arrives looking for Young and sees her talking to Tai Soo-mi. When she comes down, Kwon asks, what was she talking to you about? So Young says, do you want to write another article about me? Young scares him a bit, as if she's going to hit him, and says, next time, if you try to write anything about me or try to embarrass me, I'll punch you. Hearing this, he angrily says, you're so shameless. Yes, I posted the article, but everything written in it was true. You're in this law firm only because of your connection. The next day, we see that Young is packing her suitcase and about to leave the house. She says to her dad, I'll stay with Dong for a few days, then I'll find my own place. Her dad tries to stop her, but Young says, now I'll leave that law firm and join Tai Soo-mi's law firm. She tells him that she got a job offer from there. Young starts to leave, then her dad says, you can't do this. You can't join there, because the founder's daughter there, Tai Soo-mi, is your mother. Hearing this, Young gets shocked and suddenly falls down the stairs. When Young opens her eyes, she finds herself in the hospital. Her dad tells her about her mom, how both of them met in university. Her dad was the son of a poor farmer, and Tai Soo-mi was the daughter of the founder of the Thiessen Group. Still, both of them fell in love with each other. When Young's mom got pregnant, the dad wanted to marry her. But then Young's maternal grandparents wanted Tai Soo-mi to get an abortion. Young's dad had pleaded a lot at that time. Let the baby be born. We will take the baby far away and never come back. Young's mom somehow agreed on one condition, that he would never show his face again. Then Young's dad left law to keep his promise, so that he would never have to face Tai Soo-mi. Her dad says, I shouldn't have done that. In life, everything is political. Hearing this, a light bulb goes off in Young's mind. She says, what if there was politics involved with the villagers too? When she had met the experts, she had told that for the first time after the road construction, she stepped out in 2016. Young remembers what Han Soo had said, that in 2016 experts were called to check whether the big tree could be declared a national monument, but it was rejected. Young calls Junho and tells him everything. I think that because of politics, that tree wasn't declared a national monument. Then, in the next scene, both of them are shown doing research. At that time, Junho asks Young, why did you suddenly run away that day? Young says, that day I didn't even touch you. Still, my heartbeat got really fast. Then she says, maybe I like you. Both are about to say something when they see an officer running from there. They chase him and finally catch him. He tells that he did it on his friend's advice. He thought that if the tree became a national monument, then the subway line and road wouldn't be built. He thought the village's progress would stop. So he made some of his friends into fake experts and created a false report, and the tree got rejected. The next day in court, we see that Tai Soo-mi says, after the voting, it has been found that more than half the people have accepted the compensation. Hearing this, the judge thinks about dismissing the case. Young challenges the judge's decision and says, until the challenge is verified, the court's decision should be put on hold. The judge asks, On what grounds are you challenging the court? Then Young and Yang show a photo in which the judge is holding an umbrella that has a dolphin logo. They explain that this logo is of the construction company. The construction company is also working in the same city where the road is planned to be built. It means the judge himself is interested in buying an apartment there, which is an unfair trial. In the next scene, Yang goes to Tai Su-mi and tells her dad's name and asks, "Don't you recognize me?" Then she says, "I was about to leave that law firm and join your firm." But now that she knows everything, how can she join her firm? She wanted to become independent and separate from her dad, but now how can she leave her dad and join her mom's company? Especially when her mom gave birth to her and abandoned her. Hearing all this, Tai Su-mi becomes emotional and can't say anything. Still, somehow she asks, "Do you hate me?" Yang doesn't say anything, but tears come to her eyes too. Then we see that the big tree is declared a natural monument, due to which the construction company has to change the road's route. Then we see the court scene, where Yang arrives for a case. Just then, Jun-ho comes there with the case files. She reads the case that the defendant is a man who had hijacked a school bus and taken 12 kids to a nearby forest. This guy is the academy director's son, and he gave this case to them. Yang says, "What was he doing with the kids after taking them to the forest?" Jun-ho says that he was just playing with the kids. While talking about this, there's a cute moment between the two when Jun-ho says, "Yang, an eyelash has fallen on your cheek," and he tries to pick it off. When Yang meets the defendant, she laughs hearing his name, because Banggu Peng was quite a different name. He says, "Kids laugh at this name, that's why I chose this name myself." Young and Yang meet the director and inform her that her son has been put into a detention center. The judge asks, "Where does he live?" He says, "I live in the hearts of children." Young then advises the director to try to meet the parents of those kids and offer them money as a settlement, so that her son's sentence can be reduced or cancelled. The director says, "Please save my child from going to jail." In the next scene, Yang goes to Dong and says, "I confessed my feelings to Jun-ho, but he didn't give any answer. So does that mean he doesn't like me?" Dong says, "He does like you, but he doesn't show it. That's why now you should do something for him that shows you care about him." Then Young and Yang go to meet the defendant and say to him, "If you admit your mistake, you'll get a lesser sentence." Yang asks, "What did you do after taking the kids to the forest?" He tells that when he took the kids to the forest, first of all, he told them the rules of the Children Liberation Army. Rule number 1, play. Rule number 2, stay healthy. Rule no. 3, stay happy. After that, he played games with the kids, and he also kept playing himself. All the kids enjoyed a lot. In the next scene, Yang is at a cafe with Jun-ho. She is telling him about the defendant, so Jun-ho says, "This guy is quite lucky because you're talking about him instead of whales." Jun-ho brings the food to the table, so Yang quickly pulls out the chair for him. She wanted to make it clear to Jun-ho that she cares for him, but Jun-ho finds this action quite strange. Next day, Yang gets a call from the director. She tells, none of the parents are ready for a settlement, instead they're all very angry. Then their team decides that Yang and Jun-ho will meet the children. Then a small child tells something to Yang, from which she understands how much pressure is on such small kids due to studies. Then the parents are called, where the director apologizes to them on behalf of her son, but the parents don't care. The director says, "My son is mentally unstable. If he's sent to jail, he won't be able to stay alive." After hearing all this, those people sign the non-punishment letter. Next day in court, Yang says, "Too much pressure is put on children in the academy. That's why my defendant didn't do anything wrong. He just wanted to help the kids relax. He shouldn't be punished." In the office, when Yang sees Jun-ho lifting stuff, she picks up his stuff. Then Jun-ho says, "Why are you behaving so nicely these days?" Yang says, "Because I like you," then runs away from there. Next day in court, the kids also arrive and meet the defendant very nicely, which makes it clear that he didn't harass the kids. He just wanted them to play. The next day, Yang gets stuck in the revolving door. Just then, Jun-ho comes and stops the gate and says, "I really like you. I like you so much that I can't even say it." Yang gets surprised and smiles. After this, it's shown that Tae Soo-mi comes to meet Yang's dad. As soon as she enters the restaurant, a man clicks her photo. In the next scene, we see Yang traveling in the subway. Just then, a man comes running with the police behind him. The police start taking him away. The man asks, "When there's no warrant, then why are you arresting me?" Hearing this, Yang says, "If there's no arrest warrant, then this is an illegal arrest." The police officer says, "This is an emergency arrest. A warrant is not needed for this." So Yang says, "Even in an emergency arrest, it's necessary to inform the suspect about their crime and tell them their rights." Now the man starts shouting even louder, "Look everyone, how I'm being illegally arrested. Someone record this and post it on social media." Then the police officer says, "Why are you interfering? Are you an attorney?" She says, "Yes, I'm an attorney at a law firm." Hearing her, the police officer releases the man. Then an officer tells the man's name and his crime. After hearing this, Yang and everyone present there get shocked because he has a case of harassing a mentally disabled girl. In the next scene, Yang meets that man in jail. He tells her, "I love that girl, but because she's disabled, People are not ready to accept that someone can love her. Young didn't want to take this case, but Young decides to work with him because she's a bit emotionally involved in the case. In the next scene, Young tells Dong that Junho has confessed his feelings to her, so she gets happy for her. Young says, "But I got nervous hearing it and ran away from there." Dong says, "You both like each other, so you should start dating." Next day in court, Young looks at the victim's chat and tells the judge that there was no physical assault between them. Instead, they were in a relationship. But the victim's mom stands up and starts shouting, "This can't be true! This boy took advantage of my daughter." Hearing her, Young gets a bit nervous. Junho comes out of the office and Young is waiting for him. She asks him, "Do you still like me?" Junho says, "Yes." So Young says, "Before becoming an official couple, we should get to know each other a little better." Young gives him a list of activities that both of them can do together. Junho looks at the list, laughs, and says, "Add one more point about dropping you home." Young agrees. Then both are walking together and Junho asks to hold her hand. Young says, "It was very difficult for Young, but still she sets a timer and holds his hand. But she can't hold it for too long." In the next scene, the victim girl talks to Young. She tells Young that she loves that boy. The statement she gave to the police was under her mom's influence because her mom wanted to keep her away from boys. She requests Young to save her boyfriend. Young says, "What you just said in court, will you be able to say it there too?" The victim starts thinking because of fear of her mom, but then she agrees. The next day in court, Young gives the victim permission to speak. The victim says, "I love that boy, and I made the physical relationship with my own will." But there, due to the other lawyer's questions, she gets nervous and starts feeling unwell. Seeing her condition, the trial for that day is ended. In the next scene, the judge gives punishment to the boy, after which the girl starts crying loudly. Even after the trial ends, Young keeps thinking about that case. Then Junho takes her to show a house, so she says, "It's difficult for disabled people to date because people don't accept these feelings." Junho says, "Even if no one accepts it, love still remains." So Young says, "Loving me is not easy. Will you still love me?" Junho says, "Yes." While talking, both come close to each other and Young herself moves forward and kisses Junho. In the next scene, Tae-sumi says to Young's dad, "Take Young to Boston, so there she can join our law firm." Young's dad refuses, so she starts blaming, "You made a plan against me, that's why Young joined the law firm opposite to mine. You want to use her to take revenge on me." Hearing Tae-sumi's words, Young's dad gets angry. So he says, "You're telling us to leave from here so that we don't cause any problems in your life?" Then he shouts and tells Tae-sumi to leave from there. In the next scene, we see that Young is waiting for Junho near the office gate. She is thinking about her and Junho's kiss. Just then, Junho comes and asks what she's doing. She says, "I just wanted to see you because you hadn't come to the office yet, so I was waiting for you." Just then, Young gets a call from Jung, who calls her to the conference room for a meeting with a client. She says bye to Junho and jumps and skips like a child toward the conference room. So Junho starts smiling seeing her. She meets Han Seon in the lift. So she asks Young, "How are you feeling working here? Any problem?" She thinks for a moment, then starts talking about the kiss. "I think I couldn't kiss properly." Hearing her words, Han Seon goes silent. When she comes out of the lift, a man comes there who's carrying his wife on his back. Then it's revealed that this man is their client. He tells that he had bought a lottery ticket along with his two friends, and they had promised that if anyone won a prize, the three of them would share it. One of them won the first prize, but now that guy has disappeared with the money, and he says that he never made any promise to share. Jung asks, "Does he have any proof? Any document, agreement, or any recording?" He says, "I don't have anything like that." He says that they're just gambling friends, and he bought the lottery ticket with the money won from gambling. Jung Myung-seok says, "If the money for the ticket was given in the meeting by everyone together, then this case will be invalid in court because gambling is an illegal practice." Then he says, his friend will bring 6.2 million won, and if he doesn't come, then this case will remain only till 2.8 million. His wife says her husband had to gamble out of compulsion. She tells that they used to run an internet cafe with their partner, but her husband betrayed her and there was a huge loss. To cover that loss, he started gambling. And she tells about her family that they are living in very difficult conditions, and they need money for their children. In the office, Young is looking at Junho, which Junho also notices. So he starts feeling a lot of love for Young. He starts walking toward her office, but before that, a man starts talking to Junho. Now, while talking, Junho places his hand on the glass of Young's room, so Young also places her hand on his hand from the inside. Both feel happy doing this. At night, Young is working late. Just then, she gets a call from Junho. so they make a video call. She says, "For the first time, I'm thinking about someone other than whales." Then she hangs up the phone. Junho starts smiling. In the next scene, the judge gives the decision in court that the lottery money will be equally distributed among the three. Hearing this, Young's client becomes very happy, but Young notices that the client wants to divorce his wife because he is having an affair. Therefore, she starts researching with Junho. They both see the client fighting with his wife, and then he leaves with his girlfriend. His wife says that after getting the money, he has changed a lot. In the next scene, the client's wife comes and tells that her husband is talking about divorce. She talks to them about taking his case. After this, the client dies in an accident, which Young also witnesses. She gets scared after seeing this. Junho, seeing her, comes to her and tightly hugs her. Then, we see a scene a few days later. Young tells Junho that after the client's death, his wife got the lottery money. She thanks Junho for hugging her that day. Junho says, "I'll always be with you to hug you." Then both kiss. While doing this, Young's dad sees them and gets shocked. In the next scene, Young is sitting with her dad eating fruits. Her dad asks her, "Are you in a relationship?" So she denies it. Her dad, shocked, says, "If you're not in a relationship, then why were you kissing outside the house?" Young says, "We are both trying to understand each other and are going on dates. The relationship will come after that." In the next scene, we see Young's competitor lawyer shaking hands with Tai Soo-mi. She gives her the task to somehow get Young out of that law firm. While returning home, Young tells Junho that her dad had seen them kissing, but she told him that they were not in a relationship. Hearing this, Junho says, "If you're not in a relationship with me, then why am I going on such weird dates with you? I do all this for your company and you say we're not in a relationship." Hearing this, Young starts thinking deeply. In the next scene, we see Young sitting at her dad's restaurant and eating food. Just then, their landlady and her father come there. Her father needed to meet an attorney, so they brought him to Young. The lady tells that they were driving on Handbag Mountain Road when a man stopped them and started asking for an admission fee for a temple, as it was a cultural heritage site. They both refused to pay the admission, saying they weren't even going to the temple, but the man kept asking for the admission fee, saying that it was legal to collect it. Young says, "It is legal to charge an admission fee for cultural heritage sites, but only for visitors." The lady's father wants to file a case, so Young asks, "How much was the admission fee?" The lady says, 3,000 won per person. Hearing this, Yong-woo says, "If you file a case, it will cost more than that, and even if you win, you'll only get 3,000 won back. So there's no difference between winning or losing." But the lady's father angrily says, "This is about my principles. We were charged wrong money, so no matter how much it costs in the trial, I will get my money back." Meanwhile, we see Young going to the hospital to get his test results because blood came out of his mouth during laughter the previous night. After a while, he reaches the office, where everyone is waiting for him for the meeting. Young tells about a case where a lady's father wanted to sue the temple people to get his 3,000 won back. Young wanted to visit that temple on Jeju Island. She asked Young for permission for this. When the name Jeju Island comes up, Young says, "We'll come along too." The idea of this trip seems a bit strange to everyone, but Young is happy because many dolphins live there. During lunch, Young is talking to Junho about dolphins. Junho says that his sister and brother-in-law live in Jeju. He says that he will take Young to meet them. At the airport, Young is talking to Junho about dolphins. Then during takeoff, Young feels a bit scared, so Junho puts her headset on her. Now while going to the temple, they are also charged a fee, of which they make a video and show it in court. In the next scene, they visit the temple and everyone spends a very good time there. Seeing the beauty of that temple, everyone is amazed. They tell that there is a painting, which is always kept closed and is brought out only once a year on Buddha's birthday. But for the past 10 years, it has not been brought out for its protection. After returning from the temple, everyone starts working at the hotel, so Young tells them to enjoy. Hearing this, everyone becomes happy. Next day, Young dresses very strangely, so Junho starts smiling. She had done all this preparation to go see the dolphins. Then, the two go to the beach. Then Junho takes her to meet his sister. His sister and brother-in-law find Young's behavior strange. When Young goes to the washroom, Junho's sister scolds him, "Are you her babysitter?" She starts insulting Young. Young hears everything from inside. Next day, in court, Young's health deteriorates. He faints right there. So Abhi runs to him. Then he is taken to the hospital. Young is telling someone on the phone that he has stomach cancer, but it's not something to worry too much about because it's not stage 4, it's stage 3. So chances of getting cured through surgery are there. The rest of the people are also with him. Young, hearing this, reads out from her phone, "It's stage 3, so that doesn't mean everything will be fine." Even after surgery, only 30 to 40% of people are able to survive for 5 years. Then, to change the topic, Junho asks Young about the surgery. Young says that he has taken a surgery appointment in Seoul. In the next scene, Young presents this case in court so well that the judge has to rule in their favor. In the next scene, Young gets a call from her dad. She asks him, "Why do you want to meet Junho?" So he says, "I want to see whether he can take care of of you or not. So Young says, he takes care of me a lot, but I don't think I'll be able to keep Junho happy. Saying this, she becomes emotional. Next day, she is at the beach with Junho. She tells him, we shouldn't date anymore. Junho asks her the reason, but Young doesn't tell him. Then she starts talking about the case, to which Junho sadly says, am I a joke to you? After the breakup, you're talking about the case? Are my feelings a joke to you? Young says sorry and starts to leave. Junho doesn't say anything and wipes his tears and starts walking after her. In the next scene, Young explains to Junho, if you love someone, don't let them go away from you. Hold on to them. On the way, everyone sees that the temple's ticket booth has been shut down. Even after winning the trial, Young doesn't seem very happy. Then, everyone goes to the temple and meets Haidong. Jung says sorry to them and says that they were on the opposite side, but they understand the temple's situation. Jung says, I will create an organization for funds. Hearing this, the protector there becomes happy. Then he offers lunch to everyone, which everyone finds very tasty. In the company, some employees are working. People say that their data had been hacked. The hacker who had hacked their data had sent an email. As soon as that email was opened, the whole system got hacked. Then they inform their boss about this. In the next scene, Young is sitting sadly outside the office and thinking about the island. Just then, Junho also comes there, so Young leaves from there. In the hospital, Jung is being taken for the operation. Just then, Young calls out to Jung, and seeing her, he asks in surprise, what are you doing here? You should be in the office. She says, if something happens to you, then I will never be able to see you again. Hearing Young's words, Jung's mom starts getting nervous. Jung explains to his mom. Young shouts, please come back alive. In the next scene, the man whose company data was hacked has brought his case to the law firm and asks them to take the case. The boss felt that the hacker was from North Korea because the email that was sent to them looked like that. The next scene is of the cafeteria, where Young's friend is having lunch with Kwon. She sees that Junho is sitting and eating alone, so she feels bad. Then suddenly, many girls come near him. Junho was the most popular employee there. Then she goes to her office and asks Young, why did you break up with Junho? Young doesn't answer and quickly packs up her lunch and leaves, saying, I don't talk about personal matters during office hours. Then the first trial of the hacker case takes place, but due to lack of evidence, the case proceeds further. In the next trial, the company's boss becomes emotional and inside the court takes out cyanide from his pocket and swallows it, due to which the situation becomes critical. Seeing this, Young starts to panic. Just then, Junho wants to come to her to calm her down, but thinking something, he doesn't do it. In the next scene, when Young comes home, Junho is waiting for her. He asks Young, why did you break up? So she says, I will never be able to keep you happy. Junho understands that she had heard his sister's words, so he explains to her, I am happy with you. So Young says, the people who stay with me feel lonely, and I don't want you to feel like that. In the next scene, CEO Han Seon meets Young's dad and says, take Young and go away from here for some time because after the article against Tae-sumi is published, the media will go after both of them. In the next scene, we see Tae-sumi's son, San-yeon. He was also very intelligent like Young and an expert in computer coding. San-yeon gets ready and sits down for breakfast. Then we see similarities between him and Young. Like Young, he also properly arranges the food before eating. Tae-sumi is also watching the same TV where it is being shown, Kefir, that Korea's biggest lawsuit is about to begin, in which the company's users are demanding compensation because their personal data was leaked. The news also said that the company's CEO's health condition is still not good. If he loses this case, then his company will shut down. San-yeon is listening to everything and comes in between and says to Tae-sumi that he wants to talk about something. Tae-sumi, being busy, didn't want to talk, so San-yeon says directly, I was the one who hacked the system. Tae-sumi is shocked at first, then explains to him, it's good that you told me, and says, don't tell anyone else. I'll handle everything else. San-yeon wanted to go to the police, but Tae-sumi scolds him and tells him not to mention the police. Tae-sumi says, my confirmation hearing is coming up. You know how hard I've worked to become a minister, right? Even after that, you can say something like this? Hearing this, San-yeon feels bad and says, you only think about yourself. You did the same thing before too, and I know everything about Young. A proper security system couldn't be built. On the other side, Junho is waiting outside Young's house for her to return. Young, as always, is returning home wearing headphones. Just then, a man puts his hand on her shoulder, which scares Young. Junho runs and stops that man. Actually, this man was sent by Tae-sumi. That man offers Young a job at a company in Boston with double salary and gives her his number before leaving. Young then asks Junho, did you want to say something to me? But Junho doesn't say anything at that moment. At home, Young's dad tells her that a few days ago, CEO Han Seon came and she was telling them to leave from here before the article is published. because she's going to release it in the press that Young is Tae Sumi's daughter. Then the media will ask them questions. Now they have two options: either go away for a few months or accept the Boston job offer. Neither of them is able to understand what to do because they didn't want to hide. In the next scene, we see that San-yeon meets Young and tells her that he is Tae Sumi's son. He says that he had hacked their server on Kim Chan's request. He had met him in a cybersecurity competition, and they became friends. San-yeon had told him to store the user's personal data. He had said that he wanted to teach the CEO a lesson, because even now he was only doing business instead of being a developer. San-yeon says, "I hacked the data and gave it to Kim Chan in an encrypted file. I even went to the police station to confess, but my mom is powerful, so the police contacted his mom." Young asks him how he found out about her. So he says that he heard a rumor that his mom had a child before marriage. After that, he had hacked his mom's phone and computer, from which he found out about her. San-yeon had recorded his own confession and wanted Young to use it in her trial so that a police investigation could start. But Young wasn't sure because it was against the interest of her client. The next day in the office, everyone watches his confession video. They didn't want to use it because Kim Chan was their client. So in such a case, if this video is used, then the company would get a bad impression. CEO Han Seon wants to use this video to stop Tae Sumi from becoming Minister of Justice. She wanted something that would reveal the truth without exposing the client's name. Hearing this, Young gets an idea. After the meeting, CEO Han Seon calls a reporter and says, "Don't publish that article now because I have more information." Then she says to Young, "Now you don't need to go on paid vacation." Young tells San-yeon to come to court and testify, so he says, "I can't do that. I'm going to the US, so I won't be in contact with you." Young understands that Tae Sumi is saying this. Then, Young says, "I will go myself and convince Tae Sumi to let San-yeon testify." Han Seon agrees, and Junho goes with Young. In the car, Junho says to Young, "I really like you. Having lunch with you, listening to you, calming you down when you panic, it makes me happy. Even if I feel lonely sometimes, these little joys are much greater than my loneliness, and that's why we shouldn't break up." Before going inside, Young says, "We shouldn't break up." Then she meets Tae Sumi and says, "Let San-yeon testify in court because San-yeon said that you are a good mom who scolds him when he makes a mistake. But if you do this now, he will feel that his mom only looks out for her own benefit, and he will feel really bad." Young continues, "You were never a good mom to me, but at least be a good mom to San-yeon." Tae Sumi doesn't say anything and walks out. The next day, we see that Taesun's lawyers come to Han Seon. They find out that they are ready to let San-yeon testify in court. They set some conditions, like only a few questions related to Tae Sumi will be asked to San-yeon, and only Young will ask the questions. These conditions seem acceptable to them. The next day, they are called for trial. San-yeon accepts in court that he hacked the system. He did it on Kim Chan's request. When asked, it is found that he will be punished for confessing, but still, he did it because he regretted his mistake. Coming out of court, Tae Sumi says to a reporter that she found out after her confirmation hearing that her son San-yeon had hacked the system, and that's why she is withdrawing her candidacy for Minister of Justice. Later, everyone goes together to a restaurant. The next morning, before going to the office, Young has breakfast at her dad's restaurant, where she finds out that she has become a full-time employee of the law firm, and her contract has been renewed. She feels very happy. While going in the subway, Young feels a little uncomfortable. She imagines many whales and dolphins floating in the air with her. After reaching the office, Young goes in using the revolving door instead of the normal one and follows the method Junho told her. And for the first time, she succeeds in going in. She feels very happy about it. Just then, Junho also arrives there, so both of them feel very happy.